Welcome to Vedic India 101, a studio that bridges ancient wisdom with the modern world. In this series, we will explore a story from the Upanishads. Make sure to watch our other videos to discover all 30 stories in this collection. So, let's dive into our story. It all starts with a young man named Svetaketu. He's just returned home after 12 long years away, and he's not the same boy who left. He's dedicated himself completely to studying the sacred Vedas, and he comes back a brilliant scholar, his mind just packed with knowledge. You can just imagine him, right? He walked with this incredible air of confidence, maybe even a little bit of arrogance. In his mind, he was done. His education was complete. He really believed he'd mastered this vast ocean of knowledge, and that there was simply nothing left to learn. He saw himself as a master. But, his father, the wise sage Uddalaka, was waiting for him, and he looked at his son, and he didn't see a master. He saw a student whose real journey was only just beginning. He could tell that while Svetaketu's mind was absolutely full of information, his soul hadn't quite woken up to the deeper truth yet. And so, Uddalaka poses this simple, yet incredibly deep question. It was a real head-scratcher, one you couldn't answer by just reciting something from a book. It pointed to something beyond ordinary knowledge, toward a truth you have to experience. And for the first time in a very long time, the great scholar Śvetaketu had nothing to say. He was completely stumped. And in that quiet moment, poof, all that pride just melts away. He suddenly saw just how much he didn't know. So, humbled, he turned to his father, not as a proud scholar, but as a true student, and he asked to be taught the very wisdom he had completely overlooked. His real education was about to start. Now, Uddalaka didn't just hand him another complicated text to memorize. No, instead, he used a beautifully simple analogy to reveal the deepest secret of existence, a secret that's hidden in the most ordinary things all around us. What he's saying is this: if you really truly understand the nature of a single lump of clay, then you understand the nature of every single pot, every jar, and every tile that has ever been made from it. You see, all those different shapes and objects, they're just temporary forms with different names. The essential reality, the very substance that makes them all possible, is just clay. Let's break this down a bit, because it's a really key idea. In Vedic philosophy, all these different forms, the pot, the jar, the tile, are called namarupa. That just means name and form. They're the things we see, they're always changing, and there are millions of them. But the clay itself, that's the adhishtanam. It's the substratum, the single, unchanging reality that all these forms depend on for their existence. So what's the ultimate clay of the entire cosmos? Well, that underlying reality has a name: Brahman. It is the one, indivisible, eternal substance that everything in the universe comes from. Every star, every planet, every single living being. It's the one reality upon which this whole diverse world of names and forms appears. So, here's the crucial point to hold on to. While our eyes see a world of endless variety, with countless different things and people, the essential truth is that there's only one underlying substance. The differences we see are on the surface. The unity is what's truly fundamental. Okay, now this is where the lesson becomes truly personal and honestly just mind-blowing. Uddalaka takes this huge cosmic principle and brings it right down to the very core of his son's identity. This leads to one of the most famous declarations in all of spiritual literature. Uddalaka looks at his son and says, just as that pot in its essence is nothing other than clay, you, Svetaketu, in your essence are nothing other than that ultimate reality, Brahman. The whole analogy wasn't really about pots and clay. It was about the truth of who we are. This gives us that great Upanishadic declaration, Tat Tvam Asi, thou art that. It means you are that ultimate universal consciousness. It's not something you have to achieve or become, it's what you already fundamentally are. So what does that really mean for you and me? It means that our true self, which is called the Atman, is not the temporary name and form of our body, our thoughts, or our personality. Those things are like the pot. They change, they're fragile. Our true identity is the clay itself, that eternal, unchanging consciousness of the universe, Brahman. Okay, that's a beautiful ancient story, right? But how does this secret of the clay actually help us in our busy modern lives? Well, it's surprisingly practical. Let's explore how we can translate this profound wisdom into real, actionable takeaways for today.
we can actually distill the wisdom from Svetaketu's journey into 3 really transformative lessons. First, focusing on first principles. Second, seeing the underlying unity in others. And third, anchoring our own identity in something much deeper than our daily circumstances.
First step, focus on first principles. In any situation, whether it's a project at work or a personal problem, learn to see the clay. It is so easy to get lost in the details, right? The many different pots and jars of the issue. This teaching encourages us to step back and ask, what is the foundational element here? By understanding the clay, we find solutions that aren't just surface-level fixes, but are truly effective and lasting. Second, see the underlying unity in people. We live in a world that constantly emphasizes differences, job titles, appearances, political opinions. These are all just nama rupa, names and forms. The secret of the clay teaches us to look deeper, to recognize that shared substance, the common humanity that connects every single one of us. This perspective just melts away conflict and helps build genuine empathy and collaboration. And finally, maybe the most life-changing lesson of all, anchor your identity. So often our sense of self is tied to temporary things. Our successes, our failures, our job titles. These are like the clay pots, destined to change and eventually break. True stability and peace come from identifying with the clay, our core consciousness, which is unchanging, whole, and already complete. This realization brings an incredible resilience and a deep sense of inner calm. In the end, what Śvetaketu learned was that true wisdom isn't about knowing many different things, but about knowing the one thing from which all other things arise. It's that beautiful shift from a mind that is full of facts to a heart that is full of understanding, realizing that one unified reality that shines within each of us and as the entire universe. Thank you for watching Vedic India 101, where we bridge the ancient wisdom of the Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, Itihasas, and Smritis with the modern world using authentic sources. You are currently watching our 30-part series on the Upanishads. We hope you are enjoying these stories and finding them insightful.